Minasan, hajimemashite. It's the first video of a new year.
A liar! You're a liar!
It's time for some low-effort content.
Why are you the way that you are?
So this is an obligatory video of the year. I'll freely admit that this video is in completely B tier, C tier content because I had originally planned out some content related to snaps and customizing snaps. However, you cannot do anything that I initially planned that video anymore, and Canonical wasted 2 weeks of my content calendar. So really, you can go thank Canonical for wasting my time by wasting your time. I want to be transparent about the state of the channel. So like where I stand with YouTube community guidelines and blah blah blah, and also trying to be more transparent about the financial situation of the channel, because this is something I actually want to discuss, and I've actually wanted to discuss for a long time. Initially, I was going to lock this at patrons and, you know, in the future YouTube members, but I believe this is something that everyone should be aware of, because this is, you know, this is the obligatory time of the year where everyone releases their statistics about YouTube or how everything works, and my future as a creator, keeping the channel sustainable and maintaining a current level of quality and all the things that everyone talks about. I started off innocent, just like all of you. I would just watch people on YouTube, and I could live my life blissfully ignorant of all of big tech, except for Apple, who owns my phone. In my personal life, I don't have a Google account. I don't use social media, so no Facebook, no Twitter, not even Mastodon. I haven't bought a single item off of Amazon like in 4 years, coming up next month, because like I firmly believe that it is possible to live without all of big tech in your lives. Yes, I even watched YouTube without like a Google account, and I would just lurk like videos for like years and years. But as I was watching people on like, you know, tech YouTube, and I will freely admit to it, has a heavy slant towards Linux YouTube, which is why I insert them into videos all the time.
Brody, why are you such a weeb? I have absolutely no idea why you would ever ask me that question. I have no idea whatsoever what you could be talking about.
So watch me just add more fuel to the fire and to the noise by like just having this channel exist. Where I choose to do news live streams on YouTube. Oh wait, I don't do that anymore. You can't get them anymore because they were really bad. I don't like.
They were
live
exceedingly
streams.
bad.
Live streams are awful. I don't think I could ever do that. And I also tried having normal videos, but with deep fake narration. Yeah, don't do that. That was also kind of weird. I also want to be transparent about what I do, like how this why the channel works the way that it does, and why I did. I've talked about before how doing low quality content sure might be easier, but it's not going to help me stand out against the sea of like YouTube, which is, you know, not exactly the greatest thing in the world. There's just too much going on, and it's like, then if I just do low quality content, I'm not going to stand out and be unique and interesting. And I also want to talk about some of my my life also plays a big part into this, and I want to talk a little bit about that now. I know most like there's an unwritten rule. I mean, sometimes it is written that you're not supposed to like intrude on the privacy of like the lives of people. But I do want to discuss some of this because this is actually important to how the channel is, how and why the channel operates the way that it does, and why my upload frequency is the way that it is. So I want to talk about this. Now, I will admit this now. I am not like a child. I have a job. And now I'll also freely admit, I do not have a lot of disposable income. Now I say that, but I don't make minimum wage. I definitely don't make minimum wage, and I get paid more than that. But I also don't have a 6-figure salary, and that is probably all I will disclose. And I'm pretty sure I pretty much described all of middle America right there. But you know, whatever. I used to be married, but my wife left me and took my kids, so I only get to see twice a year because they live in a different state. Why are you laughing? Shut up. And I have to pay her alimony every year, which is why I have to e-beg for more money on the internet in addition to working my normal job. So yes, give me money on Patreon, and then when I set it up YouTube memberships, Because apparently, yes, did you know this is a thing that like people want? They want like VTuber lore or something. Actually, people have a lot of questions like, why do you like, how did you get all of this? It's like, did you get fired from Microsoft? Did Tim Cook ruin your life because he did the prayer hands one too many times? Will you ever find Mark Zuckerberg unironically funny? And a few people have asked what I do for a living, and I won't get into much detail, but I have zero formal background in technology. In fact, because I am so old, my job literally expects that I don't understand computer things. I think that already tells you something about our society, doesn't it? I am just a loser who reads way too much on the internet and just happens to accumulate knowledge as he goes, because people just don't know how to read in the modern day and age. So I did a lot of thought into what having an anime body gets you. And in the bowels of my internet research, the vast majority of internet famous VTubers fall into the following categories. Okay, number one, they sing songs. Now I do have possess a basic musical talent, but I can't play any musical instruments or sing. Trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. Apparently this is a thing VTubers do. I don't understand. All right, number two, they play video games. Video games became a thing when I was much older in life, and I never grew up with video games. So all these kids who are like, you know what they say. Kids have a third parent. There's mom, dad, or if you're in a non-structured family, or the third parent, Nintendo. I didn't grow up with Nintendo, so I don't under. So all these people saying, like, "Oh, you need to play those N64 games." No, be quiet. I never grew up with any of those. I never grew up with gaming, so it escapes me why like people will watch like an anime character play video games for like at least like 2 hours on end. Number three, you need to have a funny voice. Yeah, that ain't happening. Every one of these VTubers. Now, I can't confirm this for a fact, but I have confidence that 95% of all VTubers are significantly younger than me. And I even think this number is probably being generous. Like, I don't have the status of youth anymore, but at least I can pretend to, because the anime body will hypnotize you into thinking that I'm younger. Something that I have never talked about before, but I want to address right now is YouTube's algorithm has preconceived notions of what a VTuber is, and I'm sure you also have preconceived notions of what a VTuber is. But these preconceived notions are frankly in an awful and terrible state, because I believe being a VTuber means more than singing, playing video games, pretending to be a seiyuu, or being young. And there has to be more to it than this, because you have to think about it this way. It's bad enough that people have biases against things like your race, unfortunately, your religious views, or lack thereof, your sexual orientation, your political beliefs, never mind the content you make on the internet, or whether you have a real body or not.
I think that VTubers, basically, like, VTubing is like cheating for girls.
I am the writer, so I write all of the scripts for all the videos. I'm the designer, so every element that you see within the videos, or like the thumbnails, are done by me. I am the one who edits all the videos. I am the one who uploads all of said videos. I manage social media, so I'm also the content manager. I am also have started doing the subtitles by myself, and I am also the holder of all accounts and all finances related to the channel. So I am the one who manages all of it. I essentially control everything and run everything, including the creation of my own body. So yes, even my own body was created by me. There are no third-party editors, there are no contractors, there's no other artists involved. Now, I want to talk about specifically about you. You tag along for many videos, but you have done
I am the
Diddly
pet.
Squad.
I am the pet.
I might as well just make you like a parrot. Just have you sit on my
I'm a
shoulder.
mascot. I think you should make me a bobblehead that like sits on the desk in front of you.
You are just a Zoomer who spends most of your time probably watching Pokemon or Minecraft speedruns.
Pokemon in Minecraft.
Because rather than like, actually like seeking out or making answers or solutions to like questions or problems that you have with technology, or if the cynical me thinking you should be making Apple content. Because I don't have an Apple computer at my disposal. Now, as a single person who edits and makes content for all the channel, I also wanted to say it takes me roughly about 4 hours each day to do the following things, and I'm going to actually list that out right now. Number one is you write a script, and I actually write this script in Markdown, and this is actually what I use and read aloud for videos. And then that's usually takes me roughly about 4 hours, right? Sort of throwback, and usually most of it is late at night because that's when all of my creative juices get flowing. And then the second day is where I record and execute said script. It'd be something like today. And then after the first recording session for video of the week is done, what we do is we just run our mouths for our paid members to figure out. So it's like usually whatever happens in the news that week or whatever. Day 3 is I actually edit said video to a basic level. So what I do is I remove all instances of dead air, any fluff from a video, and I basically try to get it down to at a minimum under 20 minutes. And I know I am really bad at like making things short, but I am thankful that people have been actually very receptive to this. Number 4, actually edit in the videos by putting in things like overlays, inserting text, putting in memes, all the good stuff. And then number 5, day 5, is a combination. Usually, sometimes this happens over multiple days where I edit in subtitles, upload said video, and then comment or just say stuff on social media. And that's usually spread out over multiple days because, I mean, obviously, you can say whatever you want on Twitter any day of the week. Because this is like a 5-day period, so I do this over 5 days. I do this probably, I would say, consistently from like Sunday through like Thursday is like sort of my schedule. So that way Friday and Saturday is me time where I can go out with friends or something and have something other than the channel and my day job to keep me sane in the cold, harsh world we live in. Now, in the interest of financial transparency, the channel is very close to breaking even, but it is not financially stable for me to continue doing. I currently fund this with my job. I pay for the following things for the sake of the channel, and if you ever want to get started as a YouTuber, I strongly recommend that you consider the following, okay? Number 1, you need to have an email dedicated to the channel. I have not shared this email yet, and one day I will, but this email is going to be something that I am going to be very protective of because I am not going to put this in the YouTube description because we know for a fact that bots crawl that page looking for that email. Because that else, why wouldn't YouTube put a CAPTCHA and require people have an account to like actually look at that page? And then I'm only going to share that email over video. I have not set it up yet, but I'm only sharing that email over video. You will never see this on like social media or YouTube or Odyssey. You're not going to see it anywhere. You're going to have to watch the video. Wow. So then you can just make my engagement numbers go up so you can get my email. All right, number 2, you need to have a throwaway phone, a burner phone. Now, I understand that for some people, this is actually something that is not like readily available, you know, in the country, depending on what country you live in. And with the plan that I have, it is about $15 a month with the lowest possible plan that I could find. And I have used this phone number to register for all of the platforms that require me to have a phone number. So that is my Google account, like Twitch, because in order to enable two-factor authentication on Twitch, you need to give them your phone number, which is ridiculous. Twitter, because I'm not going to talk about that one again, and things like that. Then lastly, as my vanity domain. So this is Trafotin.com. This is $13 a year, which averages about $1.10 per month. And I actually have been working on a website, and every video which has come out within the last 2 months actually has a fully written script and transcript to go alongside of the video. So if you're too lazy to watch a video, you can just retroactively go back and visit the website to read about the video. And also it helps me like place me in search engines. So there's more ways to discover me outside of YouTube than just YouTube and Odyssey, because that's honestly not enough. Having a website on a VPS is going to cost me more money, and for the even like for such a small scale as my website, it's going to take about $4 a month, which means I have to increase the amount of money that I have to receive in order to keep the channel sustainable. So if you've been doing the math so far, it's about $15 a month for me to pay for a burner phone, and then it is another $1 a month for my domain name, and then if this price is going to go up, it's going to go up by $4 in order for me to have a website. And the reason why I need to do it over VPS is because there are certain changes that need to happen on the server level to block things like robots. Maybe I'll add in things like Cloudflare, because we know for a fact that there are things like website archivers, like the Wayback Machine and archive.today, which will archive your stuff, and then it's going to be published for everyone for all perpetuity forever. And you actually can't configure this if you use GitLab Pages or Netlify or Render or Heroku or whatever people do these days. You can't do it in any of those platforms. You need to do it from the server level by blocking IP addresses, sending DMCA requests. You cannot do any of it on any of these things, which is why I will probably never publish the source code for this. Also, for people who do know, I have been incredibly frustrated with Git. I also want to discuss YouTube AdSense, okay, and how much money I actually make from money that people give me. So I make about $13 a month from Patreon, and Patreon does take a portion of this cut, but I essentially make most of that through like that. And this, if you give money on Patreon, this will give you access to the bonus podcast, the aforementioned podcast, which is what the old channel used to be. And if you ever saw the video that came out a couple weeks ago, the YouTube Shorts video, that is actually from the Patron podcast. So it's a way for me to just an excuse to double up on content, really. YouTube has been really iffy about like how much you are really allowed to disclose, but not even YouTube, because YouTube literally doesn't care. It's really AdSense that cares, because there's all sorts of clauses in the AdSense terms of service which are very loosey-goosey about like what exactly you're allowed to share like from your AdSense panel. And I was also not officially a YouTube partner, until like earlier in like 2022. So while a decent amount, I also want to be clear that receiving AdSense revenue is essentially YouTube blood money. That's at least what I've come to call it. I do not believe in YouTube's business model at all, philosophically, and I am simply trying to make the best of being forced to use the 95% monopoly platform in the society we live in today. I also want to make it clear that AdSense money that I receive is never going to be used for my livelihood, and is never going to be used for the sustainability of the channel. And there is the proof is in the pudding of YouTube making arbitrary policy changes, censoring things that frankly don't make sense or is against their better interests. Typically it's stuff involving like you having your privacy or something. And then also because I have received a community warning, and they're not revoking that anytime soon. I have also have zero interest in doing YouTube full time. I have seen far too many creators that have been screwed over by literally trusting like their entire livelihoods to YouTube, which is basically a platform run by the most privacy invasive company in the world. The most I would possibly consider YouTube is part-time for the future, but even then, because of the instability of YouTube, I don't even think I would. I also want to make it clear, like, well, how much do I actually make? And honestly, it's very inconsistent. I don't even know how this number is actually calculated. And this money is actually made through ads. And I do try to make efforts to make all ads skippable. And there's no those stupid sponsor cards that appear in like the headers of videos, which I really cannot stand.
And you try to censor some of the grossly objectionable content.
Yes, and I also have to censor out things like there's actually YouTube literally allows this by default, and you need to change this. So for example, nothing about involving sex, nothing about like get rich quick schemes. Apparently that's a category,
which it's like, why should that even be allowed?
This money right now is going to essentially recouping the debt of this channel being up for about almost 2 years now, and me having to pay the bills of the phone bill for like every month. So, but once this debt has been like resolved, there's going to be a question of what this money is going to be used for. And I think I found a good compromise for it. The money is going to be used for specifically one-time purchases. So that way, whenever I invest into something, it is specifically going to be something for the channel and nothing else. It is not going to be partially it'd be for my personal enjoyment. But the other reason why it would be investment in like one-time investments is because that way when I am investing this money into the channel, I can use it to buy things like hardware, which I can review for videos. So that way I can remain independent of the system, because even if I do get sponsors, I cannot rely on sponsors to like solve all of my problems. And even then, like, I don't think it's something. I mean, I'm not against sponsors, but they have to let me say whatever I want. And if you don't let me say whatever I want, then I'm already really sus. That's the absolute state of the channel. And I want to consistently do this every year, and probably in the better interest of like being more transparent about how the channel's actually being run. And basically, this was also kind of an autobiography of, hey, this is what has happened to the channel up till now. So there you go. Like and subscribe if you also want to suffer as a content creator. Actually, you know, maybe it'd be a good thing. Maybe we can talk sometime. You know. All right, that's the state of the channel. 2023 will probably be me working on a website. It'll be great.